Hey guys, it's JW, and thought I'd jump on. I'm at the elementary school. It's my last stop of the day. It's Friday afternoon, so the kids will be all hyped up when they get out, which I like to see. I always like to see happy kids. I don't see enough of that, to be honest with you. Although when school gets out, kids are, they're loaded with energy and testosterone and whatever, and they seem to be excited. But I also see a lot of kids who look grim, and maybe school is a respite for them, possibly. I don't know. I should probably tell you this, that I'm one of these guys who I think I'm an amateur psychologist, and I'm not, but I kind of can look at someone and kind of guess at what their life might be like. And I think it's all in the eyes. That's my my description of it anyway. I don't have any scientific evidence of that, but usually you can see in the eyes. If their eyes are twinkling, more than likely they're happy. If they're got the sad eyes, they're probably sad. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Didn't someone once say the eyes are a mirror of the soul? It kind of makes sense when you think of it. All these sayings make sense. I recently, I've never stopped being a Christian, but I guess you could say I was a lapsed Christian in the sense that, I wasn't doing all the things I should be doing as a Christian. Some of that was, praying, just being, I always try to be kind to people. Don't get me wrong, I do. But maybe sometimes I didn't go out of my way to be kind. Now I've changed that up, and I do go out of my way. Not in a busybody sort of way, but more like, you okay type of way. Are you okay? Do you need a hand? And, I'm seeing more people. I walk every day. I do like 2 or 3 walks a day for an hour. And some days, when I really have the time, I like to do 3. But by the time evening comes, I'm pretty beat up from that 3 hours. But most days I do an hour in the morning and an hour in the late afternoon after I get out of work here. And I run into a lot of people. Some, I don't want to call them elderly, but probably retired and in their 60s, some 70s maybe. Some even older. I saw a guy the other day who was probably, he must have been late 80s. And he was hunched over and he was walking his dog, but he looked pretty good. And he, you know what? He had the twinkle. He had the twinkle in his eyes, so he seemed happy. And then I'll run into someone, I just say hello to these people. I don't carry on long conversations with them, but I saw someone who looked like they had a lot on their mind, and I didn't say anything other than I said good afternoon to them, and they did respond with good afternoon, and made an effort to give me a smile. But I knew there was something going on. But I said, is it my place to ask them? It's not like they were sending out any kind of signal or a cry for help. If they had, I would have been more than pleased to, assist them or help them in any way. Sometimes helping them is just listening to their story, okay? I remember I had one time it's about 3 or 4 months ago. It was, back in the spring, maybe May. And I saw this woman, and she looked really distraught. And so I just said, how you doing? And she goes, oh, I'm hanging in there. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, there's a lot of troubles in the world. And I said, a lot of them are locally, right here where we live. And I hope yours improve. And she went on to tell me that she just lost her husband to cancer, and that her son wasn't very much help to her. He was more interested in selling the house and putting her someplace where she could live. And she seemed to have all her faculties. I didn't know the woman, but she seemed in control of the conversation, very articulate. And she was very sad. I'm sure most of it was from losing her husband, who was her soulmate or whatever for a lot of years, apparently. She said they had been married for a long time. She didn't say the number of years that I recall. And, but that her son, she was upset at her son because it seemed like he was trying to push her into, and then go into this assisted living, programs. And, I said, well, maybe his son is thinking of the ramifications, that if you did have to go into one of those programs, and, they can come after your house if you don't have the money. I don't know your financial situation. But she said, oh, no, we took care of all of that. We set up a trust and a living trust or whatever, and we're all set on that. They can't come after our house. And so, she said, the Hilton is calling. I don't know anyone from the Hilton, but anyway. So you never know when you run into people. And anyway, she said that she was having depression, and that, and her son, again, wasn't helping much because he was I got the feeling he was kind of browbeating her and kind of telling her that she should think about, that I guess her husband did most of the chores as most guys do around the house, snowblower and taking the trash out. And she said that she looked in fairly good shape. And I said, well, is it becoming a drain on you? Is it becoming too physical for you to be without your husband? And she said no. She said, we hire people to mow the lawn, so we always did that. And so I said, well, you shouldn't be in any hurry then. You seem to have your wits about you, and you're going through a normal period of grief. You lost your husband just a few months back. And I said, I would just try to maybe you tell your son in a nice way that at this time you're not thinking about that. You're dealing with getting through the grieving period, and then you'll make a decision on what your next move is. But right now you feel you're strong enough to live in your house. So, and I said, I've always learned in life is try not to let other people's problems affect you, meaning that her son's issues were different than hers, and he was trying to force something on her that she wasn't ready for. And even though it's her son, and if he felt she was losing her grip, or maybe not being sharp mentally any longer, sure, that's the time a child's supposed to step in. But I don't know, she made it sound to me like he was kind of looking for some cash. And she didn't come out and say that, but she said she was disappointed in the way he handled his father's death, and so quickly wanted to get the house sold and get her into a place, And I'm thinking, again, she seemed perfectly healthy, very sharp. And I said, well, you're in charge of yourself. I said, I assume you have a lawyer that you did your will with. And I said, I would maybe call and ask his advice on how you should handle your son, because I know he can't do anything to you as long as you have your faculties. I believe so anyway. But in this day and age, I don't know. Maybe he could go out and say, oh, my mother's not doing things the way she used to, and, I'm worried about her. And next thing you know, they got you in one of those homes. So, but anyway, it's funny, and I got off on a tangent, as I usually do. But, and I see that twinkle in some kids' eyes, and I see that sadness in other children's eyes. And it makes me sad because, I know they may be experiencing some pain in their life. With children, you never know, because it could be serious or it could be something minor. Children, I know my daughter she would stress out over the smallest of things, and still does. Just things that, most people just like say, no biggie, But, so, I'm getting better at, judging whether I should get involved in situations like that, because sometimes if you come on too strong, they think you're you're some type of a predator too, so you have to be careful. And but I have pretty good instincts when it comes to that, I think. And as I said, I've gone back to practicing Christianity again, and there's a difference between, at least in my opinion, I know how I feel, there's a difference between being a Christian, that I always felt I was, and practicing Christianity, which I have to admit I didn't always do. And so I'm glad that I'm back into it, and I feel a lot better because of it. It's really helped me considerably with the healing of my wound that I think I've mentioned a few times on these videos, more than a few. But I started praying again. Not praying because, oh, I need you, God, take the pain away. It wasn't like that at all. I was grateful for the help I was getting from the people at the Wound Center, who've been just tremendous. They've done so much to get me back to, I think I'm about 80% of where I was before the surgery I got. And they've just been very supportive, as have the dermatologists who I dealt with the surgery. They've all been very supportive and good people, and it makes a big difference. And along with, getting back to the Christianity aspect, I pray that I'm grateful for all these people in my life, my family, I feel good. I feel good now that I'm back in the fold, so to speak, because it's one thing to drift and think that you got everything covered, and it's another thing to realize that no matter how strong you think you are, or I used to tell people I'm a very spiritual person. A lot of people say that, and you ask them, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, and I was to an extent. I meditate. I always have, because I have back issues. I was in an airplane accident back in 1992, and I ended up with herniated discs up and down my spine. So I've been chronic pain since then, and I also had a couple other accidents. One was a serious broken arm in the humerus area of the body. I had two of them actually, but one of them was real serious, and I had nerve damage from that one. So I guess you can say since 1992, I've had varying degrees of pain every day since that accident. Now, some days it's very manageable. Other days I do get some pretty noteworthy pain. Not unbearable by any means, but noteworthy. That it's like it's barking at me. I know it's there, and I'll find I have trouble moving around. But the blessing that, if you can get a blessing from getting surgery for melanoma, the blessing was that when the pain from the wound started occurring with the burning and the stinging, this was a new experience for me, a new type of pain. And so I started taking more of my herbs. And one of the herbs I really loaded up on, I've always taken turmeric, but in small doses. But I take large doses of turmeric now, and I take another one called, I knew I was going to have a brain fart on this one. Turmeric and, I'll think of it later. But anyway, between that and I take my oregano oil, I take several herbs. I mean, several. I can't even remember them all. Then I also started taking a really powerful mineral supplement and a liquid vitamin supplement, a liquid mineral and vitamin supplement. I've been taking that for a couple of weeks. That's made a huge difference in my energy boost. And I've actually, the blessing from the wound was that by using the turmeric and going on the minerals and the extra vitamins, I find that my back pain is much, much better. And knee pain, which I've had since I was a marathon runner back in the day. Once I ran about 30 marathons, and at a fairly competitive level. And so I used to run 100-mile weeks, and my knees later in life got pretty well beat up. And I find my knees have been really good lately. I used to have to walk down the stairs backwards. That's the only way I could get down a flight of stairs. So anyway, everything seems to be kind of improving. The last month and a half, I've noticed a lot of improvements. And when I went to the wound center the day before yesterday, they noticed some improvements too, some dramatic ones in the size of the wound. So I'm thinking everything is coming together. Is it due to my Christianity? I don't know, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Is it due to, having some prayers and adding some more mineral supplements and more herbal supplements? I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I'll take it. I'm feeling better. Anyway, I better get to my spot. The kids will be coming out in a few minutes. Glad I jumped on and wanted to say hello, and I'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care.